What are some interesting or fun Christmas traditions you follow? Secret Santa with some friends, but we are all Jewish, so it's random for most people around us. But we do the same game with a different name on Purim and it's nice. Man, these stories makes me depressed. Celebrated Christmas for the first time with my new GF. I did a little treasure hunt with clues leading up to the final stack of presents. We have two main traditions. 1. You have to do a party piece or you don't get pudding. You can sing a song, play an instrument, write a poem, do a magic trick, make a quiz, a whole bunch of stuff, or miss out on cake, chocolate, sweets and everything else. 2. This one is for the kids. We buy far too many after 8s and see who can eat the most before we start to feel sick. I always win. I love my family's Christmas. I'm a geography nerd, so every year on Christmas Eve I watch the Santa Tracker, multiple websites that track Santa as he makes his journey through the time zones, with my little sisters. It serves as fun entertainment, a good reason to kick back, and is perfect for getting my youngest sister, who still believes in Santa, to go to bed without a fuss, since he's almost here. When my sister was little, I'm the youngest, so I don't remember / wasn't involved in creating this tradition. She woke my dad up at like 4 or 5 a.m. asking to open her presents. He told her to watch the clock until it read 30 minutes from then, expecting her to fall asleep. She didn't fall back asleep, and he felt too bad to not come through on his promise, so my family opens gifts around 2 to 4 a.m. every Christmas. As a kid, it made the day feel like it lasted forever, but now as we're growing older, we usually take a nap afterwards. We get ornaments that capture what each of our children's primary interests were that year. This year was a Peppa Pig ornament for my 5-year-old, and a ketchup bottle ornament for my 7-year-old. He really likes ketchup. I have learned that you can find an ornament for just about anything. My GF and I never buy gifts. Instead we each pick one restaurant and buy a fuller meal than we typically do, appetizer, cocktail, entrees and desserts. We follow up with a movie of that person's choice. 2020 has been ordering in, and renting instead of going to the theater, but it's really nice to have 2 evenings in December where all our cares are what food looks best, and what movie pairs well. We all get 5 Santa presents each on Christmas morning. We have kids in the family, but the last several years they've not been over for Christmas Eve / morning. But the Santa presents never stopped. We're each assigned a Santa so we don't know what anyone's getting, and then we get drunk whilst wrapping them together on Christmas Eve. Still magical. When I was younger we were always given strict instructions not to go downstairs or wake our parents before a certain time, but our stockings were always placed by our door in the night and we could open them while we waited. The only caveat was we, my brother and I, 1 year apart in age, had to wait for my sister, 9 years older, before we ripped into them. Every year we'd negotiate a time with her that we could wake her to begin, usually about an hour before we could go downstairs. And every single year we'd wake up super early and bide our time poking, but not opening, the stockings until the agreed upon time came. Then we'd run in to wake her up only to find she had gotten up around 3 a.m., opened her whole stocking without us, and gone back to bed. It's been a long time since she lives with us to carry out that tradition, but my brother and I still open our stockings together every year. Last year was the first time in 26 years we didn't wake up in the same house to do so, and it felt so wrong opening it without him there. This will be buried, but my family has had a few. The night before Christmas Eve, December 23rd, my dad would make pumpkin pies from scratch. He also does this the night before Thanksgiving. When we were younger my brother and I would help him, and I remember using the sifter and my hand cramping up. At the beginning of each Christmas season my mom would take my siblings and I to a Hallmark card store, and we'd all pick out an ornament for that year. Our tree would be full of random stuff, and mine were always Star Wars spaceships or video game references. While my dad's dad was alive, we would spend every Christmas Eve at his house with my dad's side of the family. One of my uncles would organize a paper football tournament with paper footballs made from wrapping paper after gifts were open. My siblings and I all buy gifts for each other's animals, but they are gifted as if they were from our own animals, with the writing being dumbed down also. My parents have a porcelain nativity scene that is 40+ years old. Many years ago my dad built a stable out of an old mandarin orange box. Back then they came in a thin wooden box. The stable is turned on its side, and used as a storage box for the figures, each wrapped in a bunch of paper towel or something similar. I don't even know how this got started, but my sister and I play Find Baby Jesus each year. One by one we pull out a wrapped up figure and unwrap it. Whoever unwraps the Jesus in the manger figure has found Jesus and wins that year. In the box it's hard to tell what size they are. Once they are in your hand you know right away if it's a wise man or Joseph etc. The lamb, then wrapped, is similar size to Jesus, so it is the red herring. Tonight I'm going for, I believe, my 4th or 5th consecutive win. Will be weird this year because we are doing it on Zoom, as in my area we are under household only in your home orders. Staying at home doing absolutely nothing. My family has a 3-day Christmas movie marathon. The marathon always ends with the Muppets Christmas Carol just before midnight on Christmas Eve. Unrelated, but I always connect the two holidays. We celebrate Hogmanay by going to a pantomime before the bells, smiley face. Hogmanay is the Scottish celebration of New Year's Eve. Every year I get my kids to make a decoration for our tree. My teenage son hates it. Literally just told him 5 minutes ago that today is decoration day. He's not impressed. I'm sure one day he'll look back and appreciate all the decorations he has made over the years. Why? Don't be depressed. If you feel sad because you don't have traditions, start some. It's never too late. Start by watching Scrooged with Bill Murray. We are always eating potato salad and hot dogs on Christmas Eve. A roasted duck on the first day of Christmas. And from my fiance's family comes the tradition for gifting the presents. All presents are laid under the tree. Then everyone gets a dice. Now one after the other rolls his or her dice. When it lands on a 6, you get to gift a present. There are 2 rules for gifting the presents. It can't be one for yourself. It can't be one you wrapped. I love this tradition because you can watch everyone's reactions to their presents. We always listen to the full album on Christmas with the Muppets and John Denver. I've listened to that album since I was 3. I have a tradition of untraditional Christmas dinner. Living in the UK, the expectation is that everyone has a roast dinner of turkey etc. I cannot stand roast dinner, or indeed, turkey, so have made my own tradition of having something else deliberately weird or unusual for Christmas dinner. Previous years have included homemade sushi mountains and insanely stuffed burritos. This year we're ordering a massive Indian takeaway on Christmas Eve and will be having it for lunch the next day too. Every year since my sister and I were old enough to read, my parents would organize a treasure hunt for us after Christmas dinner. Santa would leave us a letter with our first clue and take us all around the house. When we got old enough to drive, the clues would take us all around town. It would always be different, either in theme or how the clue was solved. One year it was Dexter themed and my parents made a kill room where we had to dig a clue out of a fake body. It was always creative. Now that my sister has a child, this year is the first year we're doing the treasure hunt for my niece. Yes, we did this until our mid-30s, lol. This is going to be buried, but I tell it anyway because I find this to be the only odd and fun tradition. When my little brother was like 11, he chose and cut pure Christmas tree himself from my yard. He got this skinny and sad looking tree. We all laughed at it, and every year since he had chosen the crappiest tree he can find. We call it Christmas twig instead of Christmas tree. My husband and I started a new tradition last year based on Japanese spirit lamps. It started when I was looking for an origami instructional video. Traditionally, spirit lamps are shaped with folded parchment or waxed paper into a lotus shape with candles attached inside. To make it safer, I used electric candles. The lamps are used in a ceremony devoted to honoring the spirits of those lost in the prior year. In Hawaii, the ceremony also celebrates the end of World War II. I added light, plastic plates to float the lamps, and, since we don't have a river to float the lamps in, we go out to our pool after we've finished exchanging gifts and say a few words about those we've lost. This year, I plan on honoring all those we've lost to COVID, as well as our personal losses through the years. At the end of the season, I'll pack the lamps away with all the rest of the Christmas decorations for next year's ceremony.